Let's see if this works. Is this working? Looks like it's working. Hey, there's me. Okay, there's definitely a delay, which is cool, I guess. Nice. Looks good too. Nice. Looks good too. There's an echo. Nice. Looks good too. There's an echo. Nice. Looks good too. There's an echo. Try this now. Trying this as well. Testing. Testing. Perfect. And now I send this to my friend. Alright, I'm gonna stop running that. Oh, that might not be good. Okay, no, it is good. It's fine. Still running. That's cool. I'll actually go back though. Ah, crap. Cool. Alright, you're still with me. I am looking for a connection to GPT that works with my VPN. There we go, found one. Okay, can I edit this at all? I'd like this to be louder, I think. That's fine, I guess, whatever. Let's see here. This is my first stream on YouTube. I'll go back to my page so I can do the chat stuff. Currently live. Should be live. I'm gonna mute this. It is muted. Excellent. Cool. If things start getting chatty, I can chat. Hopefully there is a noise pops up with anything there. Okay. Here I am. Doing things. Got GPT running. Got a lot more things here than I had before. Alright, and back into Obsidian. Okay, working on my book. Let's review where I was last week. I skipped my first stream on YouTube. Today is my first stream on YouTube. Huzzah. So I don't fully remember where I was, but I can read where I was there. Oh. Okay, that's fine. Let me see. Steven did not get a link that works. Which, how do I share this stream? Oh, I'll just copy this link. Paste. There you go. That should work. I forgot this was streaming. I was just watching myself go through this. And he's in. Hey, so that was a big delay. You just got in from my perspective. There's me. Hello. All right, let's see. I want to get back to this GPT. Here we are. You're probably not here. We're involved, which is fine, but thank you for joining. And yeah, I'm going to go over I don't want this. I want this. That's very distracting watching that video of me doing things. Go over where I left off. Alright, outline. I redid identifying and rectifying maladaptive behaviors for 1 to 3.5, or 1.5 to 3 years old, and the differentiation between maladaptive behaviors from the previous stage. So I want to read over that real quick just to get a quick overview, see where we were. Okay, so a healthy initial input, identifying maladaptive behaviors, rectifying maladaptive behaviors. So maladaptive behaviors from stage 1, exhibited in stage 2. Cool. Man, this was, I can't imagine how much work this was. I can actually, to get this to answer this way. All right. Results from over-nurturing, resulting from neglect. Maladaptive behaviors in stage 2, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Resistance to activities like feeding themselves. That's from over-nurturing. They are resistant to doing things on their own. Discouraged autonomy. Tantrums or emotional meltdowns when independence is encouraged, because they are fighting back against moving away from over-nurturing. Result from neglect, extreme reluctance to engage in new activities or interact with peers. Aggressive, so I don't know if this necessarily falls into the autonomy versus shame and doubt realm, the neglectful. I think this is just kind of going over specific actual neglect, which isn't necessarily what I was going for, which is fine, but can adjust these things later. Excessive clinginess. Oh, I see. Rectifying the behaviors from stage 1. I'm going to reorganize this slightly. Move that down. There we go. And then bring this here. There we go. So yeah, then that addresses the new maladaptive behaviors and rectifying them. And then this is the maladaptive practices that lead to these maladaptive behaviors. Okay. This feels like work, which is, I guess, what it is, but I'm not quite enjoying it necessarily. I don't want that. That is not what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? This actually was what I was looking for. Okay, so 5 to 12, then we have 12 to 18, adulthood. So yeah, I probably won't spend too much time on this, as I am feeling a bit I guess overwhelmed is the word for all of this, because it is quite a bit of information that I'm not well versed in yet. So this is partially me learning all this information, and I genuinely don't think I'm in the mindset for that at this moment. Because I don't fully understand these concepts. I just know they do have a relationship, and I know generally their relationship. And then, yeah, I think I want to go farther than this. Farther than Erikson was my initial. So I guess now I'm going to go into like this brainstorming thought here around what I'm doing. Going back to the main idea, because yeah, this is outside of Erikson. My intention here, it is utilizing Erikson's work because he, I believe, had a very good philosophy on the science and psychology of development. But yeah, I think I would like to be more. Let's take notes. This is not the notes I want. That's fine. Let's date this 5/3. I'd like to be more, or I'd like for my end result to be based on research that supports the theories presented. Because there are things outside of Erikson, like Piaget, for example, and honestly even Freud, but many other research experiments just done on youth and interactions between youth and parents that can be fit into this framework, but aren't necessarily described in the initial writings of Erikson or Piaget or Freud, for that matter, especially Freud. Crazy man. So yeah, I'd like this to be more focused on the research around raising people. I'm currently working with someone in this age group, so I think I might skip the 3 to 5 and the 5 to 12. So I might jump into adolescence here to kind of just be a jumping off point for me as far as like, hey, this is useful and we can try to diagnose and figure things out from that person based on the previous stages. Or any person really, but I would like to be able to identify and differentiate with individuals because of the system I make. Yes, so I'd like that. I'd like it to be based on research. I'd like it to be more holistic. Than developmental psychology. We would use developmental psychology as the foundation for understanding ourselves and others, but it's, yeah, I guess this whole thing, main idea is this is a guidebook. This was my primary goal. I'm going to change this here. This will be a guidebook for raising children effectively and healthily. That's including nutrition and things in that realm. That will have some biases likely, but because nutrition's a pretty debated subject, but again, aim to be research oriented. So yeah, the claims in this book will be research oriented. So I may drop this Erickson framework for a little bit, get back to it later, because it is useful, but it's not, I feel like it's losing what I was trying to do, which it's, again, useful, and especially once I get to the point where I'm using my own AI and anything LLM to kind of organize a lot of this and have maybe even like I can't remember the name of that other program, but they interact and basically create several UIs or several AIs that interact with each other to kind of manage the systems and talk to each other and come up with solutions. So yeah, way down the road, very ambitious desire outside of the scope of what I'm doing in this stream, but maybe that's where it'll go one day. Yes, so the claims in this guy will be research oriented. Additionally, this will be a book for the children upon reading age, and children, young adults, and adults alike to work on themselves as much as raising kids. I would consider what I'm trying to make a instruction manual to the human psyche. From childhood to adulthood, to late adulthood. Yeah. That's more of what I'm trying to aim at. Again, using developmental psychology, especially for the young children, because yeah, there's a lot of people I think that just don't know the difference between over nurturing, under nurturing, and when that displays itself and how that displays itself in children. I see many children that go through, you know, they're written off as ADD or ADHD, and a lot of that is temper tantrums or things of that nature. And don't get me wrong, those things exist. I think it's highly overdiagnosed, especially in children. You know, we end up diagnosing the adult population far less than the child population. That usually points to the idea that we don't grow out of it. There is a genetic component, from my understanding. We're just diagnosing children far more than adults, and I don't think that's because we're underdiagnosing adults. I think it's because we're overdiagnosing children, and I think a lot of that has to do with just setting healthy boundaries and understanding how to encourage healthy growth in a child using developmental psychology. Yes, so that is what I want to create. How do I do that is the question. I have a viewer. I think it's probably still my friend. Oh, I have 2 views. I don't know what that means. I got a like. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, that's what I want. I don't think I know necessarily how I want to go about obtaining this. So let's do this. He might help. This developmental Developmental Psychology Helper. Ah, it did it again. It's never going to let me in now. Oh, it did. Whoa. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, it's not. It did let me in. That's really weird. Cool. Usually doesn't. I'm creating a guidebook. Oh, I think this is not the right guy to go with. Actually, he's very specific. GPT I made. I'm creating a guidebook for the human psyche. We'll even say it's a life instruction manual. I will be focusing on developmental psychology primarily. The beginning part of the book, my super awesome spelling, still there, still awesome, will be focused on raising children. I think I want to speak directly to the reader as an adult. We can describe the maladaptive behaviors present in the kids, but the main focus will be how the parent, guardian, mentor, adult can cultivate healthy growth based on which maladaptive behaviors present themselves. Super awesome spelling. Based on main focus will be how the parent, guardian, mentor, adult can cultivate healthy growth based on within the child, based on which maladaptive behaviors present themselves and which stage those behaviors came from. My concern is that I'm not going to be able to diagnose and list out every single possible situation that a parent would find themselves in, or the child presenting behaviors with. So my aim is to create a structure that can be understood, digested easily, is applicable, is easily applicable, and can be broadly applied to any reader in any situation with a child. Let's just do that. I would like to see what GPT spits out with that blurb I just threw at it of what I'm doing. Yeah, goes into the framework based on developmental stages. Categories of behaviors. That's an interesting way to look at it. I think that'd be good. Yeah, case studies and examples. Case studies I tend not to look at. People like to read them. It's helpful for basically storytelling and helping people understand what the topic is, but I don't think it's very good always at highlighting actual truth or mechanisms. I think that'll be, as long as the case study's backed up by broader research, then it's fine. Categories of behaviors. I like this. I like categorizing things by behaviors that we're exhibiting. So this might be the way I go. This might be the key to what I'm trying to create, is identifying the behaviors we're looking at. Clear actionable strategies for each type of behavior or challenge. Tools and resources, yeah, worksheets, questionnaires, those will be good. Yeah, and I think furthermore, for each age bracket, there would be a checklist, so to speak, of things that need to be accomplished, maybe. Maybe that's not quite what I'm looking for. Not necessarily need to be accomplished, but milestones to be reached. Yeah, I think that's closer to what I'm trying to describe. Such as, a 2-year-old finding autonomy. Usually this looks like potty training successfully, just as an example. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's adjust this up here. This book will also be applied to adults and before adults going through their own development. I'm considering a separate book for each age bracket. I spelled separate really cool. I'm really good at spelling. And based on each stage of development, there would be a checklist of sorts leading toward milestones to reach. And I'll just copy this because I liked that description, such as a 2-year-old finding autonomy. This usually looks like polyturing successfully, or a young adult finding their identity. Clearly. I spelled identity really cool. All right, etc. I don't know. I never know which ECT. I always get it wrong every time. And I always try to do it the other way. Always like, this is different this time. ETC. Yeah, let's see what this says now. Instead of listing every possible maladaptive behavior, broader psychological principles that can be applied universally. Positive reinforcement, setting boundaries. Yeah, so maybe instead of that's tough. Identifying is part of it. Like identifying the maladaptive behaviors that have already presented themselves, because this is going to be as well like my intention, what I want this for is for foster and adopted parents. You pick up a kid that's 12, 13 years old, 16 years old, they are probably going to have some issues. You know, that's just the way it is in our country, unfortunately. So, you know, being able to identify and work with those maladaptive behaviors is, you know, how do we do that? What does that look like, kind of thing. So I like this. I don't want to negate. I like principle-based approaches. I don't want to negate the identifying and dealing with maladaptive behaviors as well. Aggression, withdrawal, anxiety. Yeah, so this is categorizing behavioral patterns and responses. This is probably more what I'm looking for. Organize the content by developmental stages, offering a clear progression through the book. Each section should start with a brief overview of what typically expected at that stage, followed by the common challenges and how to address them. Right. That is what I was working on. The thing is I'm not just worried about Erickson. I'm also trying to get Piaget in there for the kids. Yeah, and then interactive elements, yep. Resource selections. Okay, honestly, I know this has been more of a planning party, which we all love and know and is extremely useful, and clearly I got a lot done with my planning party, which is a total of 0. But I do feel more oriented, and I feel better about continuing. Oh, hey, I got into the chat. I'll be running in the background. I'll drop back in actively in a bit. Okay, well, cool. I'm glad you're running this in the background. I just saw your messages. I thought I'd hear them. I was hoping it would alert me in some way so that I could interact with people, but again, I got to figure that out. I think I might get a second monitor at some point. But yes, I think I am done for the day. I sat down and I did the thing I needed to do, which was get into the stream. So here I am, doing things, showing up, and yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for the day. Thank you for coming, and I will schedule this again same time next week. Okay, goodbye.